All right, everybody, welcome back. We are ready to jump into another deep dive today.
Yeah, excited for this one.
Me too. This one's going to be about mental breakdowns,
Ooh.
and we're going to be looking at rising above, overcoming a mental breakdown, our source material for today.
Okay.
And obviously mental health is like a super personal topic,
Right.
so we just want to acknowledge that everybody's experience is totally unique.
Of course, yeah.
But we thought it'd be really valuable to kind of like dig into this source
Yeah,
and pull out some, potentially helpful perspectives or even some practical tips
absolutely.
that folks can maybe apply in their own lives.
Right.
So, without further ado, let's get into it.
Let's dive in.
So one of the things that really struck me right off the bat with this source
Yeah.
was how it reframes the whole idea of a breakdown.
Yeah.
It's not seen as this like, catastrophic failure.
Right.
It's more like a turning point,
Mhm.
an opportunity for growth and resilience.
Yeah, I think that's really important. Because a lot of times when we think about mental breakdowns, we immediately go to this place of fear,
Mm-hmm.
shame, like we've
Yeah.
done something wrong.
Right.
And the source really challenges that perspective.
For sure.
It's saying, hey, this is a tough experience,
Yeah.
but it's not the end of the story.
Mm.
It's actually a chance to learn about yourself,
Uh,
to develop new coping skills,
yeah,
and to come out stronger on the other side.
totally. And, speaking of reframing things,
Okay.
one of the most surprising ideas in this source was about anxiety.
Oh, yeah.
They actually call anxiety a friend,
Interesting.
which I know sounds kind of crazy.
Right. Not the first word that comes to mind.
But the source explains that anxiety is kind of like a built-in alarm system.
Huh.
It's trying to warn us about something.
So like a smoke detector.
Exactly.
Annoying, but important.
Yeah, it might be like super unpleasant in the moment,
Uh-huh.
but it's actually trying to protect us. Like imagine you're feeling super anxious before a big presentation.
Sure. Yeah.
Instead of letting that anxiety like paralyze you,
Mm-hmm.
what if you saw it as a signal to like practice more? Maybe do some extra prep.
Makes sense.
And then that could actually lead to a better outcome.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's about listening to what your anxiety is trying to tell you
Right.
and using that information to your advantage.
I like that. Yeah, turning it into a positive.
Yeah. So like instead of freaking out when you feel anxious,
Uh,
you can ask yourself,
okay.
okay, what's this anxiety trying to tell me?
Mhm.
What am I missing here?
Yeah.
What can I do to feel more prepared?
Right. Get ahead of it.
And that actually connects to another big idea from this source,
Okay, what's that?
the power of our thoughts.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. The source emphasizes that we're not just like victims of our thoughts.
Right.
We actually have a choice in how we respond to them.
Interesting.
It uses this really cool analogy.
Okay.
It says thoughts are like a double-edged sword, and we're holding the handle,
I see.
so we get to decide how to use it.
So we're not powerless.
Exactly.
We have some agency over our thoughts.
Yeah. So the question is,
What is it?
do we let those thoughts control us,
Mm-hmm.
or do we choose to focus on thoughts that empower us?
Right. So it's about making a conscious choice.
Totally. But I think for a lot of us, it's like,
What is it like?
how do we actually do that?
Yeah.
Sometimes it feels like my thoughts are just on autopilot.
Uh-huh. I get that.
It's hard to like step back and make that conscious choice.
It's a practice.
Yeah, for sure.
And this source offers some practical techniques for managing our thoughts.
Oh, that's good because I definitely need those.
Well, one of them is mindfulness meditation.
Oh,
Have you ever tried that?
I've heard of it, but I haven't really tried it.
Yeah, it's really about noticing your thoughts without judgment
Hmm.
and then gently redirecting your attention to something more positive.
Okay, so not trying to like suppress the negative thoughts.
No, not at all.
But more like acknowledging them and then shifting your focus.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, I see you negative thought,
Uh-huh.
but I'm not going to give you all my power.
Right.
I'm going to choose to focus on something else.
That's interesting.
So, for example, if you find yourself kind of spiraling into negative self-talk,
Yeah.
you can consciously choose to focus on your strengths,
Okay.
things you're grateful for.
That makes sense.
It's about training your mind to focus on the good stuff
Uh-huh.
instead of getting stuck in that negative loop.
And you know what that reminds me of?
What's up?
Another idea from this source that I found really surprising.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Lay it on me.
It's about embracing limitations.
Embracing limitations.
Yeah, which I know sounds kind of counterintuitive
It does.
because usually we're told to like strive to be the best at everything.
Right. Always push yourself.
Exactly. But this source argues that acknowledging our limitations can actually be incredibly freeing.
How so?
Well, it allows us to focus our energy on developing our strengths,
That makes sense.
Like it gives us permission to let go of the things that we're not naturally good at
Uh-huh.
and pour our energy into the things that we are good at.
So, like, instead of wasting time and energy trying to be good at everything,
Hmm.
we can really hone in on our natural talents.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The source uses the example of someone who might struggle with public speaking,
Okay.
but excels at writing.
Yeah.
So instead of feeling inadequate about their public speaking skills,
Mm.
they could channel their energy into becoming an even better writer.
Right. Play to your strengths.
Yeah. So it's about recognizing that we don't have to be good at everything
Mm.
to be valuable and successful.
Yeah, we can embrace our unique skill sets.
And I think that's such a powerful message
It is.
because so many of us, I think, beat ourselves up for our weaknesses,
Oh, for sure.
you know,
Absolutely.
instead of celebrating our strengths.
Yeah, we get caught up in what we're not good at.
So maybe a good question to ask ourselves is,
What would that be?
what am I really good at? How can I use those strengths to create something amazing?
That's a good one.
And maybe, just maybe, some of those limitations that we've been resisting
Yeah.
could actually open up new possibilities.
That's an interesting thought.
Right.
Yeah, definitely worth pondering.
Like, what if instead of seeing limitations as roadblocks,
Mm-hmm.
we saw them as like doorways to new paths?
I like that analogy.
And, all this self-reflection and growth,
Yeah,
it takes energy.
it does.
And that's why the source also emphasizes the importance of rest.
Makes sense.
This is something I'm trying to get better at myself.
Oh, yeah, me too.
In our always-on culture, it's so easy to feel guilty about taking time for ourselves.
Absolutely. It's like we're supposed to be productive all the time.
Yeah. But this source makes it clear that rest isn't a luxury.
Mm-hmm.
It's essential for our mental and physical well-being.
For sure.
It's like you wouldn't expect your phone to keep working
Right.
without ever plugging it in to recharge.
Exactly.
The same goes for us.
We need to reach our...
Yeah. We need to give ourselves time to rest and recover so we can show up as our best selves.
So true.
And speaking of showing up as our best selves,
Okay.
this source also talks a lot about the importance of authenticity.
That's a big one.
It is. The
Yeah.
source argues that trying to be someone we're not is exhausting
Oh, yeah.
and ultimately unfulfilling.
It's not sustainable.
It's not.
Right. We can't keep up a facade forever.
Exactly.
And it prevents us from forming genuine connections.
Right, because people can sense when we're not being authentic.
It can.
It's only when we embrace our true selves,
Yeah.
quirks, and
The whole package.
that we can experience genuine happiness and
Right.
connect with others on a deeper level.
For sure.
And the source puts it so beautifully. It says,
What does it say?
being yourself not only makes you happy, but helps you find people who love you for who you truly are.
I love that.
Right.
So powerful.
It's such a good reminder
It is.
to just be yourself.
Yeah, embrace your uniqueness.
And it makes you think,
What does it make you think?
where in my life do I feel pressure to conform? What steps can I take to let my true self shine through?
Even small steps can make a big difference.
Totally. Even just wearing a piece of clothing that you love,
Yeah.
even if it's not in style or whatever.
Right, or expressing an opinion that might be unpopular,
Uh-huh.
but it's authentic to you.
Those little acts of authenticity can really add up.
They can.
And as we get more comfortable being ourselves,
Yeah.
it's important to also consider how we communicate with others.
Absolutely. Communication is key.
The source really emphasizes the power of intentional and sincere communication.
How so?
Well, it's not just about what we say,
Right.
but how we say it.
So it's about being mindful of our words.
Yeah, and our tone and our body language.
It's all connected.
The source talks about active listening.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Have you ever tried that?
I try to practice it as much as possible.
What's it like?
Well, it's really about tuning in to what the other person is saying, not just waiting for your turn to talk.
So really being present in the conversation.
Exactly. It's about putting aside your own thoughts and agenda and really focusing on understanding the other person's perspective.
And that can be hard,
It can be very challenging.
especially if you're like me and you have a lot of thoughts running through your head all the time.
Yeah, we all have that inner monologue going on.
But it's a skill worth developing.
It is for sure.
And the source also talks about expressing our own feelings clearly and respectfully,
Right.
even when it's tough.
Yeah, sometimes those are the hardest conversations to have.
But so important.
They are.
Because if we bottle up our feelings,
Mm-hmm.
it can lead to resentment and misunderstandings.
Absolutely.
So this source encourages us to be honest about our feelings,
Uh-huh.
but to do it in a way that's respectful of the other person.
It's a delicate balance,
It is.
but it's worth striving for.
So mindful communication, it can be incredibly healing. It can
Mm-hmm.
help resolve conflicts,
Yep.
strengthen relationships,
Mm-hmm.
create a sense of understanding.
And it all starts with self-awareness.
Right. We have to
Okay.
be aware of our own communication patterns.
Yeah, our strengths and weaknesses.
And then we can start to make those
Yes.
shifts towards
Yeah.
more mindful communication.
Love that.
Okay, so we've talked about anxiety,
We
our
have,
thoughts,
yes.
limitations,
Uh-huh.
rest,
Mm-hmm.
authenticity,
Yeah.
and communication.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We have. And that brings us to the last big idea from this source,
Okay, hit me with it.
letting go.
Ooh, that's a powerful one.
It is. This one can be really challenging,
Oh, for sure.
but it's also incredibly powerful.
I agree.
The source talks about how holding on to things we can't control,
Mm-hmm.
like past hurts,
Yeah.
worries about the future,
Right.
it creates so much unnecessary suffering.
It does. It weighs us down.
It does. And letting go of those things can open up space
For what?
for peace,
Mm.
new possibilities.
Now, fresh start.
So it's like,
What?
am I clinging to that's no longer serving me?
Good question.
What would it feel like to release it?
It's a process, for sure.
It is.
But it's a worthwhile one.
Totally.
And sometimes it's the hardest things to let go of
yeah.
that have the biggest impact on our lives.
So true.
So it's about being brave enough to face those things
Mhm.
and to say, you know what?
Yep.
I'm ready to let this go.
And sometimes it's a gradual process.
It is.
You know, it's not like you just wake up one day and you've let go of everything.
Right. It takes time
It takes time and practice.
and self-compassion.
Totally. Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
it's clear that overcoming a mental breakdown isn't about erasing challenges.
No, it's not about pretending they don't exist. It's
No.
about learning to navigate them.
It's about shifting perspectives,
Mm-hmm.
building self-awareness,
Mm-hmm.
and developing healthy coping mechanisms.
And remembering that we have more power than we think.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
We have the power to shape our experiences.
And to create a life that feels good.
Exactly.
And if I can just add one more thought.
Absolutely, go for it.
As you continue on this journey of self-discovery, I want to leave you with this question from the source.
Okay.
What is one small step you can take today to live more authentically?
Ooh, that's a good one.
It doesn't have to be anything huge.
Right.
Just one small step in the direction of being true to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on to that thought
Yeah,
and let it guide your actions.
that's such a great reminder.
I hope so.
Thanks for diving into this source with me. It was really insightful.
It was my pleasure.
And to all of you listening,
Mm-hmm.
remember, you're not alone.
You're not.
There is always hope,
Always
and there is always help available.
don't hesitate to reach out.
So until next time, take care.
Be well, everybody.